The government of Ebonyi State will soon join states like Akwa Ibom in air transport business, as the state government has set machinery in motion to float its own airline. Though the government did not give details of the plans to float the airline, the government also assured that the governor is serious about floating an airline for the state. The plans to float an airline for Ebonyi State is coming after local airlines have boycotted the airport due to its defective runway. The current government of Ebonyi State had mapped out 13.7 billion naira to repair the airport, which reportedly got 36 billion naira, barely 6 months after the past administration commissioned the airport. Recall that in April 2023, Ebonyi Airport was launched with 2 inaugural flights of Air Peace aircraft touching down on the runway of the airport. The epoch-making event was well attended by top federal and state government officials as well as dignitaries across the country. However, a few months after the inauguration, reports had it that the Ebonyi Airport runway had developed problems. The airport, which has gobbled over 40 billion naira of the state resources, is yet to yield any revenue into the coffers of the state government, which needs revenue to pursue its growth and development agenda. To the delight of citizens of Ebonyi State who witnessed the commissioning of this project, it was expected to create opportunities for development in neighboring states like Cross River, Abia State and Enugu State owing to its proximity. It was like a dream come true for the people of Ebonyi State when on Thursday 17 April 2023, the first flight from a commercial airline, Air Peace, landed at the now pristine Muhammadu Buhari International Airport, Onueke, Ebonyi State. At the time, the elation, the excitement and anticipations were like paintwork on the faces of the citizens. Their friends and other Nigerians who graced the inaugural ceremony at the airport, perhaps only a clairvoyant could predict 8 years ago that the massive farmlands of Onueke could transform into hosting such a state-of-the-art airport facility within a few years' time. This was why the reality sank reluctantly in many Ebonyi citizens. Governments in Nigeria are known to say much and merely dwell in memory afterwards. Many promises are never implemented, but the Ebonyi State Airport, rather than dwell in memory, has become the daily reality of the people of the state. That was reminiscent of the day the first Arik aircraft landed at the Uyo Airport. The crowd that thronged the new airport showed that development rekindles hope, expectations, and appreciations. For the first time in Ebonyi State at the time, the people, including critics, could not cease to eulogize the then government of Ebonyi State. Many of the indigenes of the state agreed that the then government of that time catapulted the state from one of the least developed in Nigeria to one of the best states in the country in terms of infrastructure. The then government raised the state capital, Abakaliki, to be the #1 city with the most modern infrastructure. It was the same vision that birthed the Ebonyi International Airport. Although criticism have trailed the establishment of the new airport by state governments in recent times, but there are some airports built by states that have become catalysts to economic development. Some of such airports include the Asaba Airport, Anambra Airport, Umueri, and Uyo Airport. This airport justifies the investment of state government because they met the utility objectives of their establishment, which includes the generation of revenue that sustains their operations, facilitating fast movement of businessmen and women and other travelers that use the airport. They also create job opportunities for the indigenes of the state. The newly built Ebonyi International Airport Onueke falls into this category because it has a huge potential market from 4 states including Enugu, Cross River and Abia, in addition to many Ebonyi people who travel to Enugu and Imo State to connect flights to different domestic destinations. The Asaba Airport was given out in concession about 2 years ago, and the concessionaire has brought innovations into the airport management. Anambra International Airport Umueri became a very important aerodrome in such manner that 2 airlines that operate to the airport break even with over 70% load factor in every flight. Yes, there are state-built airports that could not generate revenue to sustain their operations or even sustain regular flights to the facility, and some of these airports were taken over by the federal government and handed over to the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, where they become huge fiscal burden to the agency. What is different about the Ebonyi International Airport is that it has travelers in waiting, and with its unveiling, it is well positioned to serve the people. The runway length of this airport is 3.1 kilometers by 75 meters, but the active part of the 75 meters is 60 meters, while the shoulders are 15 meters wide. But unlike other airports, the shoulders are the same strength with the main runway. It is only the markings that will separate them when eventually reconstructed and completed. According to the design, the airport is built with 14 inches reinforced concrete, and it should be the first concrete runway in Nigeria. The control tower has 9 floors and all the equipment has been deployed, and the installation of the console has started, as the cabin that will host the console has arrived. Perimeter fencing is 16 km radius, which is constructed with block works and has anti-climb facilities. Installation of the airfield lighting is currently ongoing, and the installation is on both sides of the runway, and work at the airport should be completed before the end of 2024. The airport has full navigation aids and also has all the ground handling equipment. So the state government has completed plans for Skyway Aviation Handling Company PLC to provide manpower to manage the ground handling services, and the state government also has plans to sign an MOU with the company to train Ebonyi citizens and license them to work at the airport under the supervision of the company. The airport is also working with the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria to provide aerodrome rescue and firefighting services and also aviation security. Ebonyi citizens will also be trained and licensed by the agency to provide these services. The airport terminal has 12 houses for cargo processing, and the apron has 133,000 square meters. The Ebonyi International Airport will serve 4 states as earlier stated, including Ebonyi, and also will provide opportunity to many people who would wish to travel by air but did not have the opportunity because before now no airport was located close to the communities. Many communities in southern part of Enugu like Mpu community, Abriba, Okigwe, and adjoining communities in Abia State, the Itigidi community, and Ogoja in Cross River State will also access the Ebonyi State for travels to Abuja or Lagos. One of the major advantages of this airport is that it has a good access road. Ebonyi State government is also looking at building a monorail to connect the airport from the southern and northern regions. The monorail is expected to benefit the King David University of Medical Services, where expectedly many people will be traveling from on regular basis. To make this airport more functional, it is on this note that the Ebonyi State government is actually looking at floating its own airlines. When considering the benefits and drawbacks of state-owned airlines, it is also important to look at the advantages and disadvantages that comes with such ideas. One of which is the airline will create job opportunities and stimulate economic activities and also increase revenue for the state. The airline will also provide easier access to Ebonyi State, promoting tourism, businesses, and cultural exchange. It will serve as a symbol of Ebonyi State's progress and development. It will also be used for transporting goods, boosting trade and commerce. Also, with this initiative, the airline will offer competitive pricing, making air travel more affordable for residents and states within Ebonyi State boundaries. According to the state government, the airline is also expected to facilitate tourism in Ebonyi State, showcasing its natural attractions and cultural heritage. Finally, it is expected to connect Ebonyi State to major cities in Nigeria and potentially international destinations, whilst making the Ebonyi State International Airport a viable destination for all.